Coach Harsin, actually a little bit about this, but you guys have so many linebackers who have either played for you or you came in here as pretty highly touted guys. How are you going to get all of them on the field?
You know, it's a great problem to have. One is a lot of competition at the position. There's which creates a lot of energy at practice. Guys got to be on top of their game every day because they all want to play. And like I said, it's a good problem to have. And we'll find ways to get them on the field, get all of them on the field. They'll all have roles. Unfortunately, obviously, some are going to have bigger roles than others. But as long as they're competing and they're working hard and preparing, they deserve to be on the field. We'll find a way to get them out there.
Do you feel like you have good depth at that position? It looks like you maybe go 3 deep at those 2 linebackers.
Not, you know, knock on wood. I mean, shoot, it could happen real quick and we could get thin or whatever the case may be. But we feel pretty good about the guys we have there. By no means are where we need to be right now to play a game, but those guys are working hard every single day and they're getting better. They've gotten a lot better. So, you know, we're trying to have fun as we do it too and create that mentality to be leaders, you know, out there on the field in terms of getting the defense set up, communicating with the secondary, and you know, they're doing a great job at working at those things we're talking about.
What are some of your other maybe talking points or emphasis things you were really wanting to accomplish this spring?
You know, a lot of it's mentality, just having one, communication, because if they're communicating, they know what to do. If someone's out there quiet, whatever position they're at, it's probably because they don't know what to do. When they're all communicating verbally and with hand signals and stuff, you feel really good about what you're doing. And if you feel really good about what you're doing, you're probably going to do it pretty good and with some conviction. You know, so that's what we're trying to get done there. And if we could get them to that point, then they're going to play fast and they're going to be productive.
Tyler Gray was saying you've really put an emphasis on making, and probably goes back to the communication, is making them aware of everything that's going on the defense and not just what their job is.
Yeah, and part of that is knowing where your help is. Knowing so you could play fast, or hey, you got to play a little bit slower. For example, on the backside of a run play or a backside of a run play, I could play fast. Tyler Gray knows somebody's backing him up. He's going to play fast and he's going to be physical, you know. And so playing defense is always knowing where your help is. That's part of playing defense, knowing where your help is, so you know where to leverage the ball, you know, or where you're dropping to and that stuff. And if they could understand the big picture, it's going to help them understand the details of their position and what their responsibilities are.
What are you seeing out of guys like Tyler and Tanner and Blake, who've obviously got a lot of experience and now sort of get a chance to apply that a little bit this spring and you know, work at the details? There's
no question. I mean, those guys have a pretty good feel for the game. They got good football instincts, good football intelligence. And so to be able to build on some of those small things, hey, maybe the offense is lining up in this set, or, you know, hey, the fullback's walking up to the line of scrimmage and looking here or there, just teaching them some of those small things. Now they can grab onto that stuff. Now when the ball is snapped, they see things faster, they react faster, and now hopefully they're making plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage or getting to their coverage responsibilities faster. So those are just some of the small things we try to emphasize, you know, as well as, you know, they're still young football players. They're still learning the fundamentals of the game and just trying to keep, you know, building those and getting them feeling really good about how we're executing our fundamentals.
Ben was so productive last year, and you don't have him out there this spring. And how much is that going to set him back this fall, that, particularly with the new coaches and everything, that he hasn't been out there?
You know, him and we know what he's capable of doing. All you got to do is turn on the film and watch it from last year. The thing that I'm most fired up about him is that even though he hasn't got to participate, he is into it 100% mentally. I mean, he might be into it mentally better than any other linebacker in that room, and that shows you his maturity in being able to handle the situation and still get himself better. He's on point in those meetings. He's asking questions out there on the field. He knows when somebody messes up, and if he's not sure about something, he's asking me. And the same with Travis Saxton, who's out and not able to participate right now. You know, so you know, we got a couple of practices left here, but those guys have done a great job of staying into it mentally. Now, obviously, physically, once they're able to, you know, they're healthy and we could get them going, we got to continue to develop their, you know, their athletic ability and all that stuff. But mentally, they're doing a good job.
Was Ben's injury the thing that held him back at the end of last season, or did he do something else in the offseason?
No, it was kind of a nagging deal. It's kind of been a nagging deal, and you know, we know what type of football player Ben Weaver is. We want to get him healthy and get him to 100%. You know, because here in the fall, there's going to be, hopefully, you know, there's going to be W's and L's. Hopefully, a lot more W's and L's, and so that's when it matters. We need to get him healthy for that point.
Tanner's first spring ball. What are you seeing out of him now that he got sort of thrown in the fire last year, but now he can?
Yeah, there's no question he got thrown in the fire last year and stuff, and he's a very smart football player, and you know, he's having a really good spring. He's building off of the things that he did last year, things he learned from last year, and he's having a really good spring. Feel really good about Mike linebackers are two guys that have game experience. Those guys, they're doing a great job out there communicating, knowing what they're doing, and they're being very productive, most importantly.
That's Blake and Tanner you're talking about.
Those guys are doing a really good
and
job.
then on the Will side, you got Tyler and Darren Lee.
Yeah, we got a lot of. Obviously, we feel good about the experience at Mike. We're trying to find our next best to get on the field. Like we were talking about, hey, we need to find out who needs to be on the field and who needs to be on the field more than others. We're going to try to get everybody on, but at the end of the day, it's about getting the best players on the field. So we've got a lot of guys rotating through at the Will linebacker spot, and to be honest with you, they're all doing things good. One guy's maybe doing a little bit better in coverage. One guy's doing awesome in the run game and stuff. One guy's really maybe an exceptional blitzer, so they all have their attributes. So we just got to get them in the right situation.
A guy a lot of fans will be looking at on Saturdays, Joe Martirano, obviously the local kid and all that. What are you seeing out of him this spring?
Joey's made a huge leap in terms of understanding the defense. It's a lot. He was on scout team last year, so he really got a chance to develop his body as a redshirt. And now it's the mental aspect that he's done a lot better job at. First off, he's been put in situations to learn it before he was just on scout team, so he's doing a good job of learning. He's playing Mike linebacker, so he's got to run the show when he's in there. He's setting the fronts, he's getting the coverage communication and all that stuff. So it's a lot thrown on his plate. And if you ask him, it's a little bit different than high school football. I mean, we might call a defense, and we could be in maybe 1, 2, maybe sometimes 3 different coverages depending on what we get. So it's a lot on his plate. He's doing a good job. His fundamentals have gotten a lot better throughout the spring.
He a guy that's maybe going to make more of an impact as a special teams guy this year and sort of grow into something down the road with the experience he has in front of him?
Shoot, I tell these guys all the time, you're preparing to play, game number 1, and that's the mentality. That's all of their mentalities. We all, as linebackers, are going to play special teams. We should be, one of the best special teams groups on the team. I mean, by nature, that's what we do. We play in space. We should be able to take on blocks. We should be able to block people. It's the same thing. So obviously our job is to find the ball and tackle the ball. So that's special teams. I mean, all those guys will play teams, and like I said, for the guys that we have to get on the field, the guys that deserve to get on the field, we'll find a way to get it done.
Do you feel more comfortable coaching linebackers because it's a position you played, or you just have maybe more knowledge there, or do you feel equally comfortable at defensive line?
Just coaching the D-ends the last 2 years. I'd coached D-line before, so I felt really good, and especially coaching the hybrids. The fun part about it is you get to coach a lot of pass rush, and everybody likes to pass rush when you're coaching the D-ends, And then obviously we're a multiple front, so the boundary side D-end would become the outside linebacker. So it was fun because I got to still coach that aspect. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing like coaching the position you played, for a long time. You understand, you played it in different schemes, coached at different places. And my main deal is just to try to make it as easy as possible for these guys. Knowing what I know, put myself in their shoes, I try to make it as easy as possible for them so that they could play fast and have fun.
We just got a tour of this facility today. From your standpoint, how nice is this facility compared to previous ones, and how easy does it make you to help do your job?
No, I mean, this facility is unbelievable. Very fortunate from our leadership getting this project done. Our players, ourselves, to be able to have this from a recruiting standpoint is unbelievable. We got recruits that come in here and, they say it's as good as the place they've been. Now, obviously, it's a great facility and it'll get guys here, but it ain't going to do the work for us. We still got to do the work, right? So that's one thing that we preach to our guys all the time. In terms of a organization and meeting rooms being right across the hall from our offices, it's awesome because we get interaction with our guys all the time. If they have questions in the meeting room when they're in there watching film, all they got to do is walk out their meeting room into our office and ask us, and then they're right back to the film. So it's worked out really good. Like I said, we're pretty fortunate to have this whole set up, and obviously Coach Pittman loves that weight room down there. It's a place where we could win games in there.
Brad was saying by the time you get back up here to your office that the practice tape's already waiting for you and you can get right to work.
Yeah, no doubt, no question. I mean, the video room back there is unbelievable. If you guys were to go back there and see how many screens and how much they got going on, and those guys do a great job, not only with the practice film, but obviously the post-production, all those films that get put out, on the social media and stuff like that. Those guys do a really good job. And so it allows us to get a lot of work done, as a coaching staff, and then obviously our interaction with the players.
How do you feel about the alumni scrimmage on Fridays? seeing some of the former teammates come back, and how important do you think that is to a program?
It's unbelievable. I think it's awesome. It is. I'm so fired up about that. Before the alumni didn't come out to that practice, and they get to come to the scrimmage on Saturday and all that, but it's nothing like just having those guys there. I think it's important for both sides. I think it's very important that we try to keep bringing the alumni back. Being a former Boise State football player, I know how important it is. I know when I was away from here how much I missed it, and when you're not in it all the time, you wonder how things are going. You just want to be around, and see what's going on, and maybe meet some of the new players, the new coaches, all that stuff. And then from the player standpoint, it's vitally important that those guys meet some of the guys that have played here, to share stories. It's important for them to get to know them, to create networks. We're all one big family. The alumni might not be on the team anymore, but they're part of the family, and so we need to keep that connection going. So I think it's awesome we're doing this Friday.